Hey everyone! So we are moving on to chapter 19, which is shapes and patterns. Here we have some different flat shapes coming together to make a map of a room or a house. We also have some solid objects, items from your living room that are also shapes, right? Solid shapes that we were going to talk about. So there are 3 lessons in here. Plane shapes coming together and separating. Solid shapes, and then making patterns with those shapes. Let's go ahead and take a look at some things you probably knew before today's lesson. Our objective is just to kind of identify and draw some triangles, hexagons, diamonds, squares, and talk about how they're the same and how they're different. So a little bit of review. When we're done doing that, we'll do some prior knowledge where you can use those shapes that we now know to make pictures, and maybe do the same thing with solid shapes. These are things that you probably practiced last year, and we're just going to spend a little bit of time reviewing them today. So let's go ahead and just take a look at these. I think a few of these are easier than others. Most of us would right away be able to see that these shapes have 3 sides and 3 angles. They are called triangles, right? So even though they look a little different, the fact that they have 3 angles and 3 sides mean that they all have the same name. Almost circled myself there. There we go. Triangles. Here we have a few quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are shapes that have 4 sides. If you notice, this quadrilateral is special because it has 90-degree corners. This one over here does not have 90-degree corners, so it kind of depends. This is another special one that has 90-degree corners, even though they're kind of tipped over. Here's another one that has 90-degree corners. So these would all be considered quad, 4-sided shapes, right? They might have different names. This is a square. This is another square. However, someone might say that is a shape like a diamond. And this is a rectangle. We could talk about how they're the same and how they're different. This shape over here, also a quadrilateral. But on this one, we have a smaller angle and then a wider angle. So this is called a parallelogram because the sides end up being very parallel. So very interesting. We got a couple circular or curved shapes. This is, of course, a circle. This is an oval. And this one is a pentagon and a hexagon. 6 means hexa. Penta means 5. All right. So making pictures out of plane shapes. This would be kind of a fun activity. I think I'm going to look for one of these to assign you in Seesaw. Kind of using solid shapes to build. This would be really fun if we could be hands-on. I would give you a whole big set of blocks and we could maybe build a little bit with that. Things that you've done before. If you were to recall your knowledge about patterns, you would remember that here we have a big circle, little circle, big circle, little circle. This is referred to as an A-B pattern, and this is the part of the pattern that repeats itself. So it's big, little, big, little, big, little. Keeps going, right? So if I wanted to tell what would be coming next, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A. It's going to be another one of those big circles, right? Here we have another A, B pattern. Not quite the same as this. Instead of being a big, little, it's triangle, circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle. And then this one is actually an A, B, C pattern because we're alternating 3 things. Yellow, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, yellow, blue, green. So my guess is, as far as prior knowledge goes, many of you would feel pretty comfortable building with shapes, building with solids, and making the patterns. We're going to use that prior knowledge that you have to kind of step into tomorrow's activities. So one of the things I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you take a close look at a picture like this and just name and sort the shapes that are used to make this picture. How many rectangles did they use? How many circles? I'll give you a chart or a way of organizing your information off to the side so that you can just keep track and let me know of your answer. Here you're doing the same thing, but instead of flat shapes, you're doing it with 3D or solid shapes, right? So we're not using triangles, we're using cones. We're not using rectangles, we're using rectangular prisms. So you'll have to look for and count those solid shapes. And here is that pattern. So you're just going to identify the pattern and then decide which of these two items would be next in the pattern, which one would complete the pattern. Pretty easy stuff, and then I have a fun math game for you to kind of just get into it on a Monday. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Bye now.